if my friends were like, hey, you want to go out? I can be like, yeah, I can be out for maybe an hour, but then I have to go back and do my readings, or I have to go back and do my assignments. And so
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to episode 8 of the Online Student Experience podcast. I am Dallas Wobbington. I am the coordinator for the Online Student Experience, and I'm going to let my guest introduce herself.
hi, everyone. My name is Drew Reyes. I go by Drew for short. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the Assistant Director of Transition Programs with the Office of Transition Programs here at UNT.
Awesome. We're so glad to be able to have you here
Yeah,
today,
thank you for
Drew.
having me.
So, today's episode is focusing on balancing work,
Mhm.
study, and life. As we've um, experienced college and having experienced all the things
Yeah,
that come with it, it gets hard to try to balance everything.
it really does.
And so we have Joanne here to kind of give her perspective on how things were for her when she was in college, and how she managed to get through all of that.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and get into the first question. So just kind of tell us a bit about your academic background.
Yeah, definitely. So I am a first gen college student. I started off at Texas State University, where I got my bachelor's in communication studies with an emphasis in interpersonal communication. So, like the young kids say, I like to yap. So got my degree in yapping. Then I started working at Texas State. Then came to dentist, started working at UNT, and then I was like, I love UNT. Like this is a great place. So I decided to get my master's here. Graduated last spring, yeah, with my master's degree, and have just loved it and continue to love being here at UNT.
Yeah, we love getting our masters at
Yeah.
UNT.
Fun fact, that's how I know Dallas. Dallas and I were actually in the same grad class, and we sat in the same little pod area on the first day of class. And the
I know.
rest is history.
Now look at us.
Now look at us. We're here.
All right. Well, so thankful that you're here.
Yeah,
So glad that I was able to get our masters
I
together.
know, me too.
Look at us.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to the next question. What did you have to balance as a college student in addition to being in school?
Yeah, so it was a lot of just time management and figuring out how I best study. So, talking more specifically about my master's, so half of my master's degree was in person, half was online. And so the in person provided me that structure to where I can, go to physical class, see people, but then the online provided me with some freedom to be able to do my assignments that worked best on my time. So that really helped when it came to balancing school, balancing work, life, everything. I always like to tell my students that if we didn't have to worry about money, family stuff, the cold weather, we'd all be making 4.0s, graduating to 4 years debt free.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the case. And so life keeps going no matter what. Even if you're in school, it still keeps going. And so the way I found that balance was just looking at my planner, deciding when I was going to start reading, when I was going to have fun times to hang out with, friends like Dallas. So working with a planner, also love my Outlook calendar. That's how I can be able to see things that are coming up and know, okay, I have a meeting on this day, but then I have class later on. What am I going to wear? When am I going to fit in meals? And I also have a dog at home. My little son, he's amazing. His name's Toby. So how am I going to take care of him, and all of that? So it was a lot, but once I got my system down, it was very easy to just kind of flow with it.
Hmm. And you were a full-time employee while you were getting your master's.
Yes.
How was trying to figure out balancing being
Oh
a full-time
gosh.
employee while also going and getting your master's?
It was a lot. So I took about 5 years off from graduating with my bachelor's to my master's, and so I had to relearn how to be a student again, relearn how to be in class and study. And I've never taken online classes before. I've always been a person that preferred in person classes. But after taking my online classes, I love the amount of freedom that it provided for me,
Mm-hmm.
and still being able to connect with my professors. I remember one time I was working on an assignment, and because I work, and so usually I do my homework after work, so after 5 p.m. And so it was about, I think, 9 p.m. or so that I was finishing up an assignment, and I reached out to my professor. It was for my online class, and she was so sweet. She called me at 9:30 p.m. to make sure that I had all the materials that I needed to finish up my project. And that's when I knew that even if you are taking online classes and you might not feel you don't have a connection to the university, or don't feel like you have the connection to your peers, your professor, like there are classes and there are people, and online classes can provide that for you.
Mm-hmm. And I always try to emphasize that to some of the students I've worked with who are feeling that disconnect from the campus. That remember that your instructors, your professors are there for
Mm-hmm.
you. We had a faculty panel last semester, and
Mm.
that was one of the biggest things that they emphasized was
Yeah.
we understand you're human, you're people, life happens,
Mm-hmm.
but just the idea of communicating is the
Yeah,
biggest thing.
definitely. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
note to self.
Communication, super important.
So next question, how did you set boundaries to protect your personal time while also managing those deadlines?
Oh, honestly, I feel like I'm still working on that.
Hey, and that's progress. That's
Yeah, it's
okay.
a progress. It's progress. It's happening. So, I think with having my planner planned out of all my readings and everything, I knew that I had designated time that this is when I needed to do work. And so, if my friends were like, "Hey, you want to go out?" I can be like, "Yeah, I can be out for maybe an hour," but then I have to go back and do my readings or I have to go back and do my assignments. And so that's how I was able to kind of set those boundaries because I knew having still a social life was really important to me and also just important for my well-being and emotional health.
Hmm.
And so wanted to make sure that my education, while like I do feel like it's important and it is important, so is my social interactions as well to make me a well-balanced person, so I'm not just grinding away, just working and studying. And so with the boundaries of setting up like, hey, I got to go back, meet with my study group or anything like that. My friends were super supportive, which I also think helped a lot, to be able to set those boundaries and to be able to keep on those boundaries, so that way I can manage my timelines.
Oh yeah, definitely recommend trying to find out what works best for you when it comes to managing your time. I'm the same way as
Mm-hmm.
Drew. Me and my Outlook calendar are best friends. I put
Besties.
everything on there,
Mm-hmm.
ranging from appointments to work meetings, all the way over to, hey, don't forget to go by the grocery store
Mm-hmm.
today.
Oh yeah, I have one of those too. Yeah.
Exactly. And so just trying to find what works best for you because it doesn't work the same for
Yeah.
everyone.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's why it's trial and error.
Yeah, and I trialed and errored a lot. The amount of planners that I bought, like paper planners, like I'm a paper planner person, and that's how I was
Hmm.
in undergrad. So I was like, oh, I'm just going to implement the same system, but it was so much different because now I'm an adult. I got a full time job and I rely on Outlook a lot for work. And so the planner that I bought wasn't as conducive to my new learning environment as it was back in 2012. Oh my gosh. Um, and so that took some adjusting and took some kind of, trial and error and then leaning into it of I don't know how to do this. First gen undergrad, now first gen masters, and I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know that I have a lot of supportive people around me that if I do try something and fail, they're going to be there for me. Or I had other people that told me about their systems and how they set boundaries, how they manage their deadlines, and that was also very helpful as well.
I'd love to hear
Yay.
that. Going on to our next question. I'm sure you probably experienced this, but while in undergrad or grad school, did you experience burnout? And then how did you try to avoid it if you can? And how did you manage it?
Yeah, so burnout is, yeah, I've definitely experienced burnout for sure. Um, oh gosh, this is hard because it's never good to be in burnout mode or survival mode, but sometimes that's just what you got to do. And what I did was just recognize that, okay, I'm spending a lot of my energy, a lot of time in these other areas. What can I do to kind of regain control of my environment and what's going on? And how can I manage my time better? Or how can I stick to my boundaries so that way I don't feel so overwhelmed and burnt out? Um, and so, what helped me a lot was starting to make time to just be a little bit more intentional with my health and my mental health. And so, I have days dedicated to where I see my therapist. And so, that is a way for me to combat burnouts by having someone to talk to, having someone to affirm me, validate me, but then also teach me new skills, with how to cope with burnout. Additionally, taking my dog on walks, being able to see nature, be outside, get some fresh air, and then also be with my lovely dog, that helped as well. Um, but what's really hard is I love to work, and it's so weird. Um, but I love it. Like I'll go home and still think about stuff I can do in the office or projects that I'm working on that I'm like, oh, I have this idea, let me write this down. or for school, like wanting to do just like all the readings, do all the projects, everything, which I mean, you're supposed to, but do more. And then I realized like I'm adding so much to myself and adding so much pressure that it's taken away from some of my experiences and enjoying my experience because I got burnt out. I
Hmm.
thought I could keep running and going and going. I was like, I don't need no water. I don't need no breaks. I'm going to keep going. But then I was like, no, I need to take a break. I need to stop. And so that's where walking my dog, being more intentional with outdoors, and being more intentional with my time when it comes to my health and mental health definitely helped me avoid burnout.
Hmm. I know definitely part of being able to improve as a person, as a student, is recognizing
Mm-hmm.
when you're getting to that point where you need a break, and
Yeah.
then actually doing the step forward to do, like take that initiative and like be like, okay, I need to step back. I need to communicate where I need
Mm-hmm.
to. I need to kind of recognize that I'm getting burnt out. And of course, no one wants to be burnt out.
Mm-mm. No.
No one's like, you know what, I'm gonna be burnt out today.
Yeah, I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna be burnt out. Just call me burnt. I'm just gonna do it.
It's so definitely taking that initiative and recognizing um, those triggers, those
Hmm.
steps, getting to that point,
Yeah.
and then trying to figure out how can you combat that. For
Yeah.
you, it was going to your therapist, and then
Hmm.
also being able to go out and take walks,
Hmm.
kind of help you remember that you're you're a person.
Yes.
Things happen.
Yeah, which sometimes I forget I'm a person. Like, I mean, I think everybody does at a certain point that they're like, I'm just gotta keep going. I'm just gonna do this. And oftentimes we forget about our own needs because
Hmm.
we're busy either taking care of other people's needs or busy taking care of other things that we often neglect ourselves. And so that was something that I discovered that it's like, wow, okay, I'm not having any me time or any self love. Like, what can I do to pour back into myself and to help with some of this burnout? Because sometimes it just happens and you just got to keep going. But as
Hmm.
long as you, like you said, Dallas, recognize the signs and being able to take care of yourself and support yourself the way that you know how.
Thank you. Very
Yeah,
insightful.
thank you.
That's why I brought her
Try.
on. So, going to our next question,
Mhm.
what strategies have helped you stay organized while juggling all these multiple responsibilities?
Yeah, so like I was saying, my planner has definitely helped, but also my Outlook calendar has helped a whole bunch to help me stay organized. And then just being proactive. I, I'm the type of person that I love syllabus week and I love the first day of school. I get so excited. Also, just the start of the semester, like when it comes to work and having to plan the new programs that are going to be happening that semester or looking beyond and see what we're going to be doing in the upcoming year. I get really excited about it. And so, what I do is look at all of my events that I have planned, all of my schoolwork that I need to do, and the deadlines for all my assignments, and then I put them on my planner that I have for more of my personal things. But then I also incorporate some of it into Outlook, so that way I know, especially if I have a class that happened during the workday, I can kind of visually see it and know what I need to do to juggle my multiple responsibilities and
Mm-hmm.
stay organized.
Ah, see, this is why we come to her. She has all the
See,
answers.
I try. I try. A lot of trial and error.
That's honestly what it
Hmm.
is being a
Yeah,
student and, experiencing life is just trial and error.
exactly. Yeah.
All right, so the next question is, did you have a support
Oh,
system and kind of what steps did you take to try to create that system of support?
wow. So I do have a support system, and they are fantastic. I would say Dallas is one of my support systems. So, like I mentioned, when we started out in our master's program, we sat in the same little desk clump area, and then we just started talking. And I remember I still didn't really fully know her, and I was moving into a new apartment. Do you remember this?
Oh,
Yeah.
of course, I remember.
I was moving to a new apartment, and Dallas was so sweet that she offered to help me move. And that was amazing. The most supportive thing I could hear from somebody, especially somebody that I didn't really know that well, besides being in class. She was able to provide that space for me and to help me move. And to me, that speaks volumes. And she's just one of many of the support systems that I have. There's a bunch of colleagues here that are now friends. There are a bunch of friends back at home. My family as well. They're very supportive. And so um, I think, I don't think I intentionally sought out these networks. it just happened organically, which I think is so
Mhm.
beautiful, is just the genuine human connection and wanting to be there for each other. And
Mhm.
I think with us, it was also like we're kind of in the same boat. We're taking same classes, it's overwhelming, and you were able to provide that support in a comforting way because you kind of knew what I was going through in
Mhm.
class and work and all of that. And same with my friends. And so I think it's just a beautiful thing to have a network, a beautiful thing to have a support system. And if you don't have one at this moment, try and reach out to people, try and create that initial connection, initial network.
Mhm.
And then sometimes it might just form organically. You might just be in line in the chat and you see somebody getting the same chips as you. Boom, now you're best buddies. I mean, that's what happens to me, but I don't know. But anything could happen, and just having a support system definitely helps because it's going to be hard when you're
Mhm.
balancing school, work, or honestly just being a student is hard. And so having someone to support you and someone to lean on is definitely really important.
I think I want to touch on something you said about there's like the support systems that happen organically, and I think it's also important to um, if you notice there's like a friendship developing organically, it's also having to be proactive and
Mm,
actively seek out that
yes.
friendship and continue, keeping up and maintaining that
Mm-hmm.
relationship. Because I think one of the things that online students worry about is
Mm.
I don't know how I feel. It feels awkward reaching out to
Yeah.
people, whether, they're people who are local or if there's other students who are online, or students you meet, through online programming is like, I'm worried about how this person's going to react to it. I
Yeah.
mean, for example, when I, provided that offer of helping you move,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to lie, I'm surprised you said yes because I was almost a stranger to you at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
And so when you said yes, I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah. It's like crap, she really wants me to do it.
Don't worry, I did it out of love.
Thank you. Thank
But
you.
part of that is being proactive and putting
Mm-hmm.
yourself out there, which sounds scary.
Mm-hmm.
But then, it comes to instances like this where we're
Yeah.
good friends. You
Mm-hmm.
were in my wedding. You helped
Yes,
coordinate my
yes.
wedding.
Oh my gosh, that's right. Yes.
And so taking that initiative is honestly it's the scariest,
Mm,
but it has a lot of I don't know exact word I'm looking for, but it has a lot of benefits that
mm.
come from it,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, definitely. And you brought up something really good because I wanted to touch on being intentional. Because yes, organic, forming those friendships, but having intentionality could also look like getting a mentor,
Mm-hmm.
like reaching out to somebody that you admire, whether that is a professor, someone that works in your office, someone that you see them and you're like, how can I be you, but
Mm-hmm.
also me? Like, give me your secrets. Like, tell me what to do. And so having mentors have definitely helped so much and was definitely a part of my support system.
Mm-hmm. So, see,
Yeah,
take initiative.
take initiative.
All right. Okay. So, next question. Can you share a time where you felt overwhelmed and how did you manage to get back on track?
Yeah, so balancing work, school, social life, friends, everything can get overwhelming. And I remember this one time that I was just like, I don't know what to do. Like, so many things are happening within the same day or within the same week. Like, how can I get it all done and also do my chores, also grocery shop, play with my dog, all these things. And so, what I did is I wrote down everything, just a whole brain dump. And then after looking at it, I kind of made different little sections of, okay, what is the most important immediate thing that needs to get done versus what can be done maybe tomorrow or the next day or maybe next week. And so that was able to kind of just everything going on my mind that made me feel overwhelmed to put it on a piece of paper to see it to then regain control of me being overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what really helped me to be able to put things into little categories so it didn't seem as big, like as a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
I made it into little tiny hills.
And that's honestly one of the best things to do is kind of categorize, like you said, things and then go from there because it can seem so overwhelming to be like, I have this long list I have
Yes.
to do.
Yeah.
But what I like to do is just kind of set like priorities.
Mhm.
Is this important? Is
Mhm.
this is there a time, like a deadline on
Yeah.
it? Or can I wait on this kind of thing?
Mhm.
So that's honestly what I like to do is like, okay, what do I need to do right now?
Yeah.
Everything else can wait.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
All right, so going up into our last question, what's a lesson that you learned from your journey that you would like students to know?
Yes. Because I feel like there's so much. Um, but also so little at the same time. I don't know if that makes sense. I think what I'm trying to say is that everyone's journey is different. And so what might help me might not help you,
Mm-hmm.
but at least you get a perspective of somebody else's journey, which I'm hoping that I can be able to provide that. And maybe those who have gone through similar things or are having questions or are wanting to start that journey of trial and error of what is a way to set boundaries or get a support system or manage multiple deadlines. Um, I would say like lessons would be to lean on your support system, um, to not be afraid to ask questions because not everyone knows, like, everyone doesn't know everything. So, yeah, some of the lessons would be to lean on your support system, find a mentor, someone that can guide you and help you kind of dispel some imposter syndrome. That was something I definitely had a lot of. And I know a lot of people struggle with that as well. And then also just remember you're doing the best you can.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing the best you can with the tools you have at the time. You're doing the best you can, and that's all you can do is your best. And
Mm-hmm.
as long as you're getting your stuff done and you feel accomplished and you feel like this is the journey that you're on, that's totally fine. That's totally good. As long as you lean into yourself, listen to your body when you know, okay, I'm not feeling that great. Oh, yeah, I didn't eat lunch today. Or I have a headache. Oh, I didn't drink water. Like maybe I should do that. And so just being more attuned with yourself and listening to
Mm-hmm.
yourself, I think is one of the lessons that I learned from this journey is to be able to trust myself and listen to myself more.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your
Yeah, thank
insight.
you.
Tell the people if they wanted to reach out, have any questions,
Yeah.
how could they reach you?
Yeah, so if you want to reach out to me and if you want to continue this conversation or have any questions, you can contact me below right here if you have any questions. And so I'd be more than happy to talk with you because thank you for listening to me talk.
Yay.
Yeah.
And so, do you have any important upcoming events you think you'd like students to know?
Oh, wow. When is this being posted?
This is going to be posted in a couple weeks, so it's going to be after your Strengths Week.
Part of my position, I help oversee the transfer center as well as peer mentoring. And so, with the transfer center, if you're a transfer student and you're looking for ways to get connected, definitely check out the transfer center. We have a lot of great resources for you, as well as peer mentoring. If you feel like you need a mentor, like I was saying, finding that intentional mentor,
Mm-hmm.
um, definitely do that through the Access Mentoring website or any mentoring programs that we have here at UNT. I think the most important thing is for you to be able to have someone to call your mentor and be a mentee and to learn from that experience, um, as well as attending any type of event here at UNT. There's a lot of great events, and it's a great way to get involved, and also a great way to have some of those interactions form organically, and then you build up your support system.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for being
Yeah,
here. And thank you, everyone, for listening
yeah,
or watching. And I hope to see you guys next time.
yeah.
Going
Thank you.
green.
Coming green.